Time to see what Santa got us, Earl. I got a new set of emotes to use in videos. Now I can be even more expressive. Hold on, I gotta try these out right now. Uh-huh. Oh, perfect timing, dear viewers. You were just catching us enjoying our gifts. Come on, join in the celebration. Wait, did you bring us something too? Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, wait, we're supposed to be on winter break. What do you mean there's a new chapter to review? But... Okay, Earl, put the festivities on hold. We're going back to work. I'm Moonlight150, and this is my overview of the latest 100 Girlfriends manga chapter, Chapter 238, Rentero's Family's Daily Life, Christmas Edition. Or at least it would be if Nakamura was cool like that. Be sure to share your holiday cheer with Zoonscans for bringing us these chapters during this festive time. And 7Cs because I'm sure they worked on it at some point during the last week. Now, on to the new and improved Daily Life festivities. Like I said, this is the new and improved Daily Life chapters. It has gone away for 3 volumes on a training arc and has come back even stronger, as it now consists of 4 longer stories within 20 pages, rather than the past 10 stories only lasting 2 pages each within those 20 pages. That's a 150% increase in pages per story. It's no longer just setup and punchline. Nakamura is now able to spend a minute developing something with these stories. Let's just see how it plays out. We learn Meru has a hair trigger laugh in Meru has a hair trigger laugh, as social media lover Akko is sharing the latest hot craze sweeping the internet. That being, funny cat videos. And Meru breaks into hysterics with the aforementioned hair trigger laugh, as funny cat videos seem to be her weakness. And for those who don't know, a hair trigger laugh just basically means they are one to easily laugh at almost anything and laugh hard at it. Like the pulling of a trigger on a gun, hence the name. That's enough! Which is ironic that the dead-eyed, there is no hope in the world outside of the Rentero family Meru is the one with this kind of laugh. Also, can we talk about the background characters for a bit? Like, this story starts with Eru alongside Meru, changes position and shows Nurse Gi and Himika alongside Akko, and then at the end has Rentero, Era, and Usa-chan just chilling in the background smiling creepily. Guess that's one way to meet your quota for showing every girlfriend somehow, by making them inconsistent set dressing along the 2 leads of the story. Weird. Hakari and Meme are a pair of dazzling classmates in Dazzling Classmates. And oh my god, these characters are actually being seen inside of a classroom. It's been so long. Where Meme and Hakari are chilling in their classroom by themselves having a casual chat. And Meme begins inner monologuing about how awesome Hakari is and how it's crazy that she is her friend. Come on, Meme girl, have a bit more confidence in yourself, okay? But Hakari turns the tables on her and reveals that she's been secretly copying her by getting the same soy milk black sesame drink as her. Turns out Hakari is a little jealous of Meme, as she admits that she thinks of Meme as being just overall sexier than her, and that she's frustrated by that fact, but also equally or more so admires Meme for being sexier than her. Which, of course, Meme doesn't believe because of her own lack of self-confidence, especially regarding her body. And this got me thinking about Hakari, interestingly enough. The admittance of being frustrated that someone, in her mind, outranks her in the sexy department. I think it's time for another deep dive monologue. Let's begin with a fun fact. Did you know that Hakari is actually a good student? Before this chapter where Meme called it out, did you know Hakari was an honor roll student? Let me take you back to the aught year of 2021. All the way back to chapter 6 with Nano's introduction. Back when the series actually acted like a regular high school series, where they were doing things like taking midterms and the space-time continuum wasn't all wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. Where we see out of the group of 4 at the time, Hakari placed the highest score-wise, 25th out of 240, way higher than Karane and Rentero and practically double the score of Bookworm Shizuka. And after this aspect of Hakari is never brought up or used again until this very chapter where Meme mentions Hakari is an honor roll student, 232 chapters and 32 girlfriends later. And though we never see it in the series, Meme describes Hakari as someone who the whole class admires. So you have this girl who is, by many people's definition, beautiful, smart, kind, sweet, elegant, and comes from a wealthy background, and no one has labeled her as something like a spoiled rich girl. So she has all of this going for her, yet what do we usually associate with this character as a fan base? She's the horny one. Okay, one of the horny ones. The OG horny one. This shows Hakari clearly has 2 sides to her, the one she puts on when she's with others, and the one that she puts on around Rentero. Since this series usually revolves around the girls being around Rentero, it makes sense that we, the viewers, most of the time only see this one side to her, with only a few rare exceptions of course. After seeing Hakari through Meme's eyes, I now want to ask the question, does Hakari have an inferiority complex? Even though she has all these amazing things going on in her life, like coming from a wealthy family, a boyfriend who loves her, and a student body that admires her, and yet it seems like it's not enough. Is this horny persona that we now know her for a mask to hide her insecurities? Let's take a look at the timeline, or the closest thing we have to a timeline in this series, from Hakari's perspective. As we know from Hakari, the Hanazono bloodline becomes blinded by love. Their whole existence is that of love, so once she found the man that she loves, she wants to do everything and anything for him, even accepting having another girlfriend because she would rather have him have 2 girlfriends than not date him at all. Her words, not mine. Not to mention she almost killed herself so he wouldn't have to suffer under her mother's control. And up until Shizuka, she probably felt pretty confident in being the triple threat of being a good student, come from a wealthy family, and have pure sex appeal. Then comes along Nano, who always gets first place in test scores. Now she doesn't have the smart aspect to boast. Then her mother comes along, who is richer than her because she's the actual one with money, so she resorts to her other assets, her body. Though not too much later, both Mei and even her own mother again come along and takes that position from her within the family for larger tits. What does she have now? We know in her own mind she is keeping score of what she offers as a girlfriend in fear that Rentaro may lose interest, as we saw how relieved she was multiple times when Rentaro kept bringing in more girls, saying things like, "That's fine as long as you don't break up with me," though this stopped within the series once Hakari joined because I think Nakamura got tired of reusing it, but I'm sure she was still thinking it every time a new girlfriend is added. In the back of her mind, no matter how many girlfriends get added, she is probably still fearing Rentaro falling out of love with her for someone else, which is an interesting parallel, as I mentioned in my award-winning Rentaro theory video, that with each and every girlfriend introduction, Rentaro fears each new addition will be the breaking point and break up the family. Hakari probably also shares this similar fear, but in reverse, thinking that with each new girlfriend, she becomes more irrelevant. So now, without being the smart one of the family or the biggest sex appeal with the biggest boobs, what can she do to secure her place in Rentaro's heart? Is it possible she adopted this horny persona to fill a role that her natural talents failed to stand out compared to other girlfriends as they kept getting added? Because now, being the seductive girlfriend, she has something all to herself, something she holds above all the other girlfriends in a way of establishing dominance. Sure, there are other girlfriends who are just as frisky, Momoha mainly, but as it currently stands in the series, Hakari is the only high school-aged girlfriend doing this. She knows she has the best chance, especially after the series confirmed to us that Rentaro won't do it with Momoha because of those pesky things called laws. Hakari doesn't have to worry about that, and that's why she knows she can be as seductive as she wants. That's what she offers as a girlfriend. This is more reinforced in that every situation we see Hakari without Rentaro in sight or in mind, she acts like this respectful, classy girl. To wrap up this mini rant, I want to say I think it's possible that an extension of the blinded by love concept that we were introduced to early in this series for both Hakari and Hakari, that Hakari has an inferiority complex brought upon insecurities that she has been outclassed in her natural winning aspects, like being a good student, adored by her peers, and having a body that most guys would love to have in a girlfriend. That she developed an overly sexual persona to keep her boyfriend interested in her, as she fears that she may no longer be good enough and be replaced and constantly seeks validation. No one, within legal age range at least, has touched upon an outward sexual attraction towards Rentaro as a boyfriend. So it'll be interesting to see how this dynamic of Hakari might change if we ever get another high school aged girlfriend who is also as sexual in nature. What will she do then? Okay, enough psychoanalyzing, back to shenanigans. It's ladies' night at Casa de Hanazono. Finally, the story I have been asking for years. I'll take this for now, but Nakamura, a full chapter of the adult girlfriends hanging out is #1 on my Christmas list. Okay, actually #2 after anything that resembles time passage. Give me someone's birthday, anything, please, anything. Moving on, all the adult girlfriends have gathered at the Hanazono mansion for a night of drinking, where we get the return of depressed Natty, cheery Hakari, and normal Momoha. As it turns out, following the rules has never allowed Kimari to have alcohol before. We also get drunk Tama, who just acts more like a cat, no surprise there, and Nurse Chiyu, who is surprisingly an angry drunk. More of a self-loathing angry drunk, at least. This is a fun change for her, actually. And even more surprising, Kimari gets all poetic. We learn that during her youth, as she never had friends, she spent her time writing poetry in a notebook. So Kimari spends the night rizzing up all the other girlfriends with bouts of poetry to cheer them up. And I won't read to you all of them because Zoonscans did a really good job with this poetry, so go read it for yourselves if you haven't yet. Cut to the next morning where she embarrassedly asks everyone to forget what she said, and maybe did since Hakari said, "Let's get hands-on," whatever that means. Guess we can leave all that up to our imagination. Lastly, we have another tale of the student and the Chuny, as a classmate of Rin's named Seda has pulled Rin aside for a conversation, asking about how she is always hanging out and chatting with Uto, and how a proper young lady and honorable student like Rin might start to get a bad reputation among her peers if she is seen talking to Uto so much, which causes Rin to go into family protection mode, saying that she doesn't care what others think or say about her and that she will continue to hang out with Uto as she pleases. But this whole thing from Seda turns out to be some kind of act as she comes clean from jealousy, as Seda apparently has the hots for Uto and is jealous of someone like an honorable student like Rin gets to be with her. After clearing up some confusion that Rin does not quote-unquote have the hots for Uto, things mellow out as Seda no longer sees Rin as a rival for Uto's affection, even to the point that Rin would be willing to introduce her to Uto to be a friend. But Seda declines, saying she doesn't want to in fear of ruining Uto's aloof aura. And with all of that sorted, I guess, Seda takes off with her mind at ease. And Uto got a massive ego boost from that whole encounter and joins Rin to go to the rooftop. And that's it. Like I said, only 4 stories now in daily life chapters. And I and many others probably think this is a good direction for the sub-series to go. Not only does the smaller number of stories in the chapter lead to longer, more developed stories, it also now differentiates itself from the flirty daily life chapters where we were also getting 2 pages per story. Though I don't see them changing those 2 anytime soon because they want to cram in as many girlfriend appearances as possible in a chapter. So these 3 months between installments was well worth it as Nakamura retooled the whole sub-series. What did I think of the stories themselves? Probably some of the best this sub-series has offered in quite some time. And a lot of that was because of the aforementioned more time each story was given to let the situation stew before resolved or hitting a punchline. Though it is interesting to see some longer and some shorter, like the Hakari and Memi one was one of the shorter of the bunch, with the other stories taking up those pages. I love seeing the non-horny side to Hakari, making her feel more like a character than a caricature, which led me down the rabbit hole of thought that you heard earlier, plus Memi actually speaking for the first time in quite a bit. My personal highlight being the adult drinking night, as like I said, I wanted that premise for a while. Now, like I said, give me a full chapter. And it even had the side effect of developing Kimari more and making her more interesting. Unfortunately, Nurse Chiyu remains still kind of uninteresting, all things considered, though seeing her self-loathingly be angry at herself has been the most amusing thing for me from her. And Tama is just more Tama. And I love the ending story with Rin defending her friendship, wifeship, whatever we want to call the Rentaro family, just reinforcing the second best thing about this whole series. That being that the Rentaro family is a family of outcasts who find the ultimate support group in one another who will go to whatever lengths to look out for their own. It's not just Rentaro being the best boyfriend around and protecting his girlfriends, it's also the girlfriends looking out for other girlfriends, especially with the way Rin composed herself like the proper young lady that she is and spoke calmly and clearly defending her fellow girlfriend. And I hope that this isn't the last appearance of Seda. She could be a fun reoccurring side character, if we are even allowed to have one of those in this series anymore, unless Nakamura decides to blindside us and make her a girlfriend eventually. And that will do it for chapter 238, the return of the daily life chapters. What a nice way to end 2025. Wait, what do you mean there's another chapter this year? But it's Christmas! It'll be almost New Year's by the time this chapter comes out. What are Nakamura and Nozawa even doing? Ugh, okay, well, guess we aren't just done with this year's worth of chapters just yet. As next time we have something Mimimi and Akko related perhaps. It's the last chapter of the volume and those tend to have a pattern of being character deep dives, so should be interesting. Sorry to delay your holiday vacation, Earl, but we got one more chapter to cover this year. I've been Moonlight150, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and scuttle around that notification bell if you haven't. Happy holidays to you all, and I will somehow see you all next week.
It's only once a year I get this feeling